Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to have none other than Gene E. Willoughby II here to talk to us about his new Kickstarter, the Sunstroms Issue 4. Well, thank you, Gene, so much for coming on the show. You are one of my top favorite guests to have. Always excited when you have a new project launching because the story is amazing. We're waist deep into the progression of the Sunstroms, and you've got a new Kickstarter going on. So tell
Yes.
us a little bit about that.
The Kickstarter began a week ago. It ends on August the 29th, but it's for the Sunstroms #4. This is going to be the conclusion of the Lost Protectorate storyline that started in issue 3. It's 44 pages, full of story. It gives us a look at some key events in the lives of Sam and the crew. But this will be our 4th issue, and after that, we're going to our collection. But we're trying to raise $600 to get it printed. We've got some cool rewards, variant covers, trading cards, shirts, prints, those types of things. So we want everybody to get in there and really support so we can get this book out.
Yes, definitely, for sure. So when you say the collection, that's going to include everything so far into like a anthology type of book?
Right. It'll be all the issues up till now. I've been kind of hoarding sketches and background materials, script pages, all those types of things, and so that it'll definitely fill out the book.
Okay.
So you'll get to see what we've done, but also all of the preliminary material that went into it.
So along with that, is there going to be extra little stories too that's added to it, or you're just keeping pretty much what's out into this book?
Well, there are some extra stories. I've always done backups in the regular issues that show you things that Douglas and Zoa, the parents, missions that they went on, like 2 and 3 page stories. I'm going to include those. There's a Princess Mirage story that I did at the end of issue 3 in the flip book, and that'll be in there. And so there'll be some extra stuff in there.
Awesome. So with this book, you said it concludes this storyline, correct? Did I
Right,
hear you right in that?
Lost Protectorate. I introduced Protectorate Team Arc in The Last Age, and this is a crossover between the Sunstroms and that world. And so the Sunstroms have gone into what's called the unsound dimension, basically because the Protectorate has had their mind controlled, and they're on their way back to attack Earth. And so they figured out that Torrance has this atomic heart; he can absorb energy, and so they want to send him in, take all the energy out of this subjugator 4 that has taken over their minds, and everything will be okay. Once they get in there, they're up against like the biggest superheroes in the world, and that causes a huge problem because you're fighting people you looked up to. You're fighting people that might be more powerful than you and have more powers than you have, and there's an army of them. So that's causing a huge problem.
So we've got the Protector coming back. Everybody's fighting, and this concludes it. From here, do we go back to the main story, or is there another I guess you would call it mini side quest story?
From here, once I get done with this story, we're going back home. I really want to spend some time at the Sunstrom estate, and I want to spend some time in their city and flesh that out so that you can get to see how they interact with the people in their city. I just want to show the inside of the house in comic book form because I haven't done that yet. So those are some things that are coming up, and then once I ground it there, then we'll get back into Julian and a bunch of other stuff I have planned.
So I know you have the story pretty much fleshed out and you have timelines and things like that. But do you also work on the artwork as well, or do you work on the artwork as you work on the story?
It's a little bit of back and forth. I'll spend as much time as I need to, 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks on just doing an outline. once I get an outline done, I break it down into pages, and at that point, I just start drawing. And once I get everything drawn, then I'm coming back to do dialogue. So it's kind of like I like to work on art specifically by itself. So I try to get a lot of things written, and then that way I can just lay pages out and just work on art. Um, and then, like I said, once I do that, then I'll start scripting it, and I'll go back and do all my bubbles and sound effects at the end.
Okay, that helps you stay a little more organized and not intertwine stories or characters and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's hard to me. It's hard to script and write at the same time. I need to kind of separate it, because when I'm working on, I did some script pages for the last age book 2 last week, and I just needed to sit down and get that done. I can't. It's hard for me to kind of split my brain to drawing and writing at the same time.
Okay. Yeah, I saw the post and I was like, "Ah, the collab, it's so great." I love seeing the collaboration between, great artists and writers come together, and I don't know, it just makes me feel good because I know how talented Danny is. I know how talented you are. So I'm just like, yes. And I saw that post and I was like, this makes
Yeah,
sense. This totally
yeah,
makes sense.
it's a lot of fun.
So when it comes to collaborating like that, do people tend to reach out to you? Are you like, "Hey, I really love your story. Is there any way I could be a guest cover artist or a guest writer?" How does that usually work when people want to collaborate? Well, at least
Um,
for your your end.
I've done I've done a sketch card for a project somebody else's, and I've done a cover, an Ace Blade cover, matter of fact. And to me, that just kind of goes. We meet a lot of people at shows, and in those conversations, and they kind of lead to, "Hey, would you like to work on this?" And and it goes from there. So I've had a lot of fun collaborating, and I would love to do more of it, definitely. Um, but I think it gets me excited because I get to see what another character will look like in my style of art, and that's always interesting to see what's going to come out on the page, and how just kind of how my hand is going to handle certain parts of the character. So I love doing that.
That's cool. I never even really thought about it like that. Like you get to see this character that's already a character, full fleshed out character
Right.
in your style. Um, that's actually, yeah, that's I've never thought of it that way. Like you get to see this character like, "Oh, I did my version of this
And
character."
I think that's why people like to collaborate, because when they see an artist that they may like, it's like, okay, I want to see my character done by him or her. And so that's always a fun thing to do.
It's a respect thing too because it's like they trust you and respect you enough with their character, and you trust them and respect them enough to, put in your full effort into
And,
giving
and
that
look,
version.
you're exactly right. It makes you put in the quality. It makes you put in as much work as you can, because you don't want somebody else's character looking bad under your pen, so to speak. And so you try to do your very best for that person, and make it look as dope as you can.
Yeah, that's exciting. And I think that speaks volumes to your talent as well, that people reach out to you and they're like, "Hey, do you mind, either doing a page or a cover or, the cards?" Um, it just shows that people respect and appreciate your talent when it comes to your style of artwork, because it is a unique style. And I think that's what separates you from a lot of a lot of, and it's
Well, thank
I'm not downplaying anybody else. I'm not. But, there you see like traditional comic book styles and then there's yours, and it's different. And that's one of the things that gravitated me towards your prints. It's like it's totally different outside of somebody else's. Was that I don't think
you.
I've ever asked you, was that something that did you ever really think about that? Like I'm not like everybody else, or was that something that you were very proud of? Like, I'm not like everybody else.
Um, that was just that was how we grew up, right? Even in music, it was, you know, you know, one artist was not supposed to sound like the other one.
Mhm.
You could be influenced, but make it your own.
Yeah.
That was kind of our culture, like when we grew up. So a lot of none of the artists that I really liked in comics looked like anybody else, and so
Mhm.
it was kind of like you were always trying to. Of course, you wanted to draw like your favorite person,
Yeah.
but just your perspective was going to make it different anyway, and you just kind of lean into that. You know, I've got a lot of artists in mind that I love looking at their work, and I try different techniques that they use, and I incorporate it into mine if I like it,
Mhm.
but it's just like your signature. Your signature is gonna be different than somebody else's. Your fingerprint, and so that's always a part of it, to try to make it, to try to have the technique that you like, but also make it yours.
That is what the young kids call a bar. You literally said your artwork is your fingerprint, your signature, it's your style. Like I love that. So that's definitely great for people to embrace and understand that just because you don't look traditional or don't do things the traditional way doesn't mean there's not a spot for you also. So that's
That's right.
really, yeah. Is that something you encourage with your students?
Oh yeah. I've this year especially, I had a lot of artists in my room in my honors class, and I always point out different things. Hey, I really liked how you did this, or how you drew that face, or whatever, and they're coming up with styles like on their own. A lot of them are really influenced by anime, but you can, even though they may like an anime show or character, they're they're drawing it, but they're also putting their own spin on it, and that's the part that you have to encourage.
And what happens when somebody, when have you gotten a student that's just like, they're good, but they're not at where they want to be and they feel a little discouraged? Have you had a student like that so far?
Yeah. And what I always tell them is, you're not yet what you're going to be. You just have to keep pushing, and you have to put the hours in. And I always talk to them about just putting the time in. The more hours you put into it, you'll look up one day and you'll be further along. You might not ever get to where you want to be, because every artist wants their work to be perfect. And even myself, when I look at my work, all I can see is the mistakes, or what I think are the mistakes. And so uh, you're gonna but you're still gonna get to a point where you're like, man, 2 years ago I couldn't have done that. So
The encouragement is definitely always needed, even
yeah.
for adults too. We get easily discouraged because either because of our age or because it's something new that we haven't done or tried. So that also applies to adults as well, I think.
Yep.
When it comes to just, you always have to take the first step. You can't just automatically run. You have to learn to run. So
That's right. That's right.
so after this Kickstarter, are you doing any conventions this for the rest of this year?
I've got I'm gonna be at Dream Days, games and comics,
Okay.
not this weekend, but next weekend. Um, I've got a few shows lined up in the fall. Um, Hampton Comic Con is gonna be one of them.
Oh, nice.
And,
Okay.
and so I'll be there for 2 days, Hampton, Virginia, in October. Um,
Yeah.
and I'll announce the rest on my newsletter when I get it all lined up.
Oh, okay. And that's right. You do have a newsletter for those wanting to join your newsletter. How do they get to do that?
Willoughby.substack.com. I I drop character bios on there all the time. I'm totally building the world on my newsletter, and
Yeah.
so you'll get new heroes and villains on there all the time. I'll tell you where I'm going to be. I'll tell you any deals that we have coming up, or projects that we have coming up, and give you sneak peeks and all those types of things.
I'm part of the newsletter and you can be part of the newsletter. I'm putting the link in the description below. So join so you can follow along as well. It's a
Subscribe for free.
Subscribe for free. Yes.
There you go.
Yes, no charge whatsoever. And I believe it's weekly or bi-weekly, your newsletter.
I try to keep it bi-weekly. Sometimes when I get bogged down in work, it's not as often as I like, but we're getting the bi-weekly.
Okay, yeah. Um, I love the newsletter because it's little gems and nuggets that add on to your world that you've created with the Sunstroms. And how did you how are you able to do the story and add these little gems in it? What do you decide goes where?
Um, well, that just comes from the fact that I've been working on this for years, and so I've got notebooks full of characters that I've been wanting to get to. Even if they're not going to be in the stories, I've got the bios already written. Some of it does change. Names do change. Particulars about powers and backgrounds, they do change, but that's all about just revising it. But a lot of that stuff is already done, and so I'll spend some time actually drawing it and making it look like I want it to look now, because some of those things I came up with 10, 15 years ago. And so I make it look the way I want it to look now, and I'll put their bio up, and it'll be a book a little later, not right now because I haven't done them all, but I want to get I want to get a good chunk of Last Age characters done and a good chunk of Sunstroms characters done and put them in the same volume. So that'll be like the Hammer Blam universe. So if anybody wants to know what this is all about, what Hammer Blam is, I can give them that.
Okay. So that's actually something exciting to look forward to. Just having all of it, bam, right there.
Right. So if you're on the newsletter page, you're getting previews of that book month after month. And so that's a little bit of a nugget right there.
Little Easter egg for
There
everybody.
you go.
So can you tell us a little bit about the rewards that people can expect through the Kickstarter?
Oh yeah. First of all, we've got a couple of bundles. One of them is the variant bundles, got all of the variant covers. The other one is I have put issues 3 and 4 together for you, so that if you didn't get issue 3, that leads into 4, then you'll be able to get both at the same time. So you'll have the whole Lost Protectorate story. Trading cards, wave 1 and 2 for the Sunstroms are available. I've got the Janisha Sunstrom t-shirt. I've got the Sunstrom team t-shirt. I've got the Hammer Blam t-shirt, the Hammer Blam hoodie. I've got my classroom set of prints that has positive affirmations on it, along with my characters. That's available. And as add-ons, I've got all the books that I've done, and those, and I think the Last Age trading cards are on there as well. So we've got, it's basically my whole library is available on Kickstarter right now.
That's amazing, because that way people that are new to you and the Sunstroms can actually get caught up through these rewards, or they can go through their library and see what they're missing, which is what I'm going to do, because I'm like, did I get 3 and did I get like it's because now I'm just like, wait a second, which ones do I have and which ones don't I have? So I'm gonna go through my library and see what I'm missing. Great. And go through and pick the reward that best suits me, because that's what it is, right? You try to tailor the rewards more towards like, okay, this person might need all of them, this person might need some, and then this person might not need any, but need the trading cards.
When I got to issue 3, I was doing the Kickstarter and putting the page together, and I said, man, so if somebody doesn't have this one, then they may think that they can't get involved in it because they've missed some. And so I just started adding everything on there. So I do that every time now.
Okay. Do you go back to your previous Kickstarters to see what rewards you had then, so you don't either repeat it, or you're like, this one actually was very popular, let me add it again?
Right. Or this one didn't do anything, and so let me take that off. So yeah,
It's all trial
yeah.
and error. Everything,
There you go.
everything in
There
life
you
is
go.
all trial and error.
Yep.
You
And
do
so
things, you learn, you grow and fix.
yep. So both of those things have happened. So yeah, it's always good to go back, and I love the fact that Kickstarter will just save what you did before, so you can go back and look at it.
Oh, okay. Because you see, I've always supported Kickstarter. I've never done
Yeah.
a Kickstarter, so I didn't know if like you guys write down like, hey, we done this.
Yeah,
So that's
it's
great.
it keeps everything you've done, and so you can always go back and look at your whole campaign from, I can go all the way back to Sunstroms #1 and look at what
Wow,
I did on that one. Yeah.
that's really good. That's actually super helpful. So you said it ends August 29th?
August 29th. Yep.
Okay,
End of the
August
month.
29th.
Yep.
And then um do you already have the next book? You do know what next book is coming out, right?
Yes.
You don't
Yes.
have to tell us, but
I'll go into. I'm 10 pages into the Last Age book 2, and the next thing that I'll be releasing will be the Sunstroms collection, and so I'm gonna read there's about 5 pages that I'm gonna redraw for
oh
that book,
wow.
just because um I've got some ideas on what I want to do to revamp those 5
Okay.
pages. But yeah, that'll be the next project, and then after that, Sunstroms #5.
Nice. I like that you have it kind of timelined and know what's next and what's happening. There's been a few creators where it's like, no, this is where I'm at, and once this is done, I'm gonna take a quick break and then figure out what's next. So
Yeah. Well, the breaks are built in. They're built in. When sometimes I get done with a project, like I'll just won't do anything for a week, which is, well, I'll say I'm not going to do anything for a week, and by the time 3 days is gone by, I'm
yeah,
drawing again. So yeah, but
because it's
I just have to let my mind kind of rest after I get one out.
it's part of your like who you are, this
Yeah.
talent of yours. It's not something easily you can turn off per se because it's something that you enjoy doing. I want to say it's a part of you at this
Yes.
point because I
It
mean,
is.
if you're not drawing, I'm pretty sure you're doodling
Yes.
something or
Yes.
thinking about a character. You're like, oh, this could be a good idea. Is your mind always, even when you're trying to put it to rest, is it always thinking of like the next thing or how to improve something?
Yes. Yes.
How
a,
many
a,
how many sketchbooks do you have?
a blessing and a curse. Like, you have no idea how many times teachers would like, why are you drawing on this test? Like, it's I can't help it, so it's just one of those things. My lesson plan book at school is drawn all over. It's just a thing.
That's
So
great. It's like you're like, it's just natural. Breathe, blink, draw.
yes.
It's a part of who you are. It's awesome. Um, so I think I've asked you this before, and I'm gonna ask you again just as a refresher. Do you have a preference in what you like more, writing or art?
um I don't, and I think that's why I do
Mm,
both.
okay.
I really like writing because you just get to be the one to determine what happens with the characters, and I have always loved that, like going back to and I think I said this before, like going back to playing with action figures. And I thought about this one day, and I said, when you were playing with toys back in the day, you were really writing stories. That's what you were doing, and you weren't putting it on paper, but you were determining what was going to happen with these characters, and who was going to get thrown off for the dresser, and and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And so I really love doing that. At the same time, I like determining what things look like. So it's almost a catch-22. There are times where I think, I would like to just write, but even when that's happening, I'm always finding something to sketch or draw. So it's something I love doing both.
Okay. What
And
comes first when in your creative process? Do you write first and then art, or do you art and you're like while you're drawing the story comes to you?
I think it's more of that, um, because it's more. I'll come up with what a character looks like, and then from there, you just start getting all these ideas about what is it that person can do, where did they come from, um, what what are their lives like, all this kind of stuff. And so I think I come at it from the visual first.
So you're doing these collabs with people. Is there a collab that you're hoping for or wanting to try to get to that you haven't gotten there yet because either the book isn't the one that you want to collab with the person? Who's like your dream collab?
um, I'll tell you. That's a good question. I'd like to do more work with Dennis Valencia. I like to do more work with Danny Quick. Um, I really enjoy the characters they have, and just the excitement that they put into everything. And so, um, yeah, they have some great looking characters, and they have exciting stories, and I think that my style would definitely fit on covers, pinups, or something. So
Yeah.
I'd really like to work with those guys.
Yeah, I can totally see Dennis's character in your style right now. I'm probably not doing it justice, but when you said it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that really could work. It really could." At first, and when I saw the Danny and your collab, I was like, "Oh, I never like I was excited, but I was like, "Oh, I never thought about them two." But when you said Dennis's, I was like, "Oh yeah, I could
Yeah,
totally like." And like
yeah.
I said, I'm probably not doing it justice in my in my imagination,
See,
but
and I did a card with him, and it came out very well. And so, and I definitely like to draw his character again.
that's cool. I like that. Are you well, do you know if you're doing heroes for next year?
I'm planning on it. I'm
Mhm.
planning on it. So um, I gotta wait to get the application and make sure everything's finalized. But that's one I definitely want to go to. Um, I was I was sorry to have missed it this past year
Yeah.
because everyone who was anybody was there. It's like everybody was at Heroes this
Yeah.
past year, and so.
Yeah.
Um, but I definitely want to get back there. I always enjoy it when I go. So,
Okay. Yeah, I haven't gone the past 2 years, I want to say. So I will be going next year as well. That's why I was asking. I was like, will
yeah,
you be there? So you
yeah.
could do some on the floor interviews as
Oh
well.
yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
And by any chance, will the collection already be done by then? The actual Sunstroms and Hammer Blam collection,
I
or
hope
not
so. I'm
quite?
gonna once I get issue 4 printed, that'll be the next thing that I totally focus on, because it's really just a matter of getting a few pages redone, and just pulling all my material together. And so um, I'm definitely hoping to have that out before the summer.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because it I'm excited for it. Just I love a good anthology book, a good
Yeah,
all the stories in one place type of thing. Cause
yeah,
then I know for a fact I've got them all.
and I want to do a new cover. So
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah. I don't want to just recycle a cover I've got. I want to do something new.
Okay.
So I'll be working on that too.
Do you have an idea of what you want it to kind of look like, or you haven't gotten there yet because you're focusing on this
I
right now?
I think I have an idea.
Okay.
I've got a few layouts that I found that I really liked when I did them, and then when I saw them again, I was like, that was pretty cool. So I'll be looking at those, but I may end up doing something totally different. So I'm not sure right this second. So
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was one of those things that you already had like pre-planned or had like a doodle of it and you're like, I'm gonna flush this out, or if it was just one of those, no, I gotta focus on this first and then I'll focus on the next thing type of
yeah,
deal.
yeah, I've got some ideas, but we'll see what happens.
Okay. Okay. Um, so we're finishing up this chapter in the Sunstrom's life. How have the characters grown from day one to now? I know that,
Okay.
there's been a lot of revelations, there's been a lot of learning about themselves as we learn about them
Right.
as well.
Right. The big change is they have really been thrown into, these are the responsibilities your parents had, so have at it, and so it's kind of like when I first started teaching, I always tell people I got thrown in the deep end of the pool with no help, and that's what's happening to them a lot in these first 4 issues. When you know that your parents were doing this big thing that you couldn't really understand, and they were coming home, and you maybe heard conversations or whatever. But when you get to be the person that's knee deep in it, then it kind of changes your perspective a little bit. And especially this new story, The Lost Protectorate, they are shoulder to shoulder with people who were their parents' contemporaries. Um, and they're looking at the Sunstrom team like, okay, we need you to do what they did. And so that's a lot. And issue 4, there's some big moments in that. You get to see Sam coming face to face with this idea that we saw in the first book, that I'm really not good enough to do this. So he's going to come face to face with that
Okay.
in a creative way that I came up with. You get to see Janisha. She's going to be the one that's tasked with, okay, all these superheroes are coming at us. We need you to use your telekinesis to hold them back. And she's looking at that like these are the guys, like these are the superheroes. And so just that idea of when you have to step up and there's nobody behind you to catch you when you fall, how do you respond? And so we get to see a lot of that.
So I know you have the stories all in your notebooks and stuff, but do you also use the hero's journey template to kind of help you get these characters from the beginning to growth to where they're
Oh yeah.
at now?
That's always playing in the back of my mind. That's I think me being the Star Wars fan that I am, that's I don't even know how to tell you, like that's part of just who I am as a person. And so I didn't have the words for it growing up because I didn't know what I was. Of course, you didn't know all the technical terms for things back then, but as I've read more and just collected more books about the hero's journey and those types of things, just become a part of how I write. So
Yeah, for those that don't know, a hero's journey is you basically take your character and you break down, likes, dislikes,
mm-hmm.
starting points, where you want them to end and how would they get from, you know, being, oh my God, we're heroes to oh my God, we're heroes.
Right,
So that's what a hero's journey template is for
right,
those that don't know. I learned a lot about that in script writing class
and
because I didn't know either. I'm like, you just write a character, and they're like, no, you gotta actually write a whole character. Like they have to have, backstory, forward story, middle story.
yep,
They have to feel like a real person, and that's something that your characters, regardless of superpowers, do end up
right,
feeling. They do feel like they're real people going through these emotions, and you do see their growth from the first book to now, just learning how to fight, learning how to be a team, learning how to depend on each other and yourselves and themselves through, your own personal trust as well. And
yep.
I think that's why I was wondering, okay, how do you keep track of that? Is it all in your notebooks, or did you have the hero's journey
Um,
lined out for
it's
everybody?
it's a notebook thing, but also I've got a few documents that I just keep adding to and taking from. So those documents are kind of where I have what's going to happen next with the character and how they're going to develop. Because there's some stuff I'm really excited about when it comes to the youngest David Sunstrom. but that's going to be part of his development. But those sheets kind of keep me in line as far as knowing how they're going to progress.
Okay, because you also have to keep track of quirks and
Yeah.
mannerisms, ways of speaking,
Mm-hmm.
things of that nature. You don't want to, well, I guess because you have so many characters, I feel like it's, not a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot to keep track of.
Right.
You don't want to end up intertwining or forgetting which character does what. And I'm sure you know these characters better than you know the back of your hand because they're your characters.
And I have made those mistakes. Sometimes it's easy to make. I did a proof copy, I think, of the last book, and when I got it back, I had given somebody the wrong name, and I'm like come on, and so it can happen, but those sheets are supposed to keep you straight.
Yeah, that's like every parent's. If you have more than one kid, you're calling the kid different
Right.
names. So you did that with your characters. That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah.
See, everybody, we all just, we have our moments. Nobody's perfect, and you fix it and you catch it before it
Right. You
goes.
catch it before other people get it. Right.
Because they're gonna tell you. They're gonna be like, "So, did you know?"
Right.
Have you ever got? Oh my gosh, I hope you haven't had that experience yet, where you publish something and one of your readers saw it and was like, "Hey, by the way."
No, not yet.
Knock on wood, then.
Right. As soon as I say that, though,
No, knock on wood. No, that's but that's what you get the proofs for, is to go through everything
and go over that. Yeah. But what you hope is, with your proof copy, you just want to look for, okay, there's a typo right here, or, this went a little bit off the margin. Like, you're hoping that you didn't like name somebody, like especially a character that's important, and you gave them somebody else's name. Like, we can't do that.
No, but yeah, I'm glad that's what proofs are for. You have your little, your before goes public
Right.
setup, so that's cool. All right, so we've come to the end. Is there anything that you want to add on to the promotion, want to let people know? I'm going to put all the links on where they can find you, link to the Kickstarter and the newsletter, all in the description. So is there anything extra you want to hype up?
We're 22% towards our goal, so we're getting there. Again, we're trying to raise $600 to get the Last Age, the Sunstroms #4 printed. Please get in there. Please support. We totally appreciate it. Lots of great rewards, lots of great books available on the Kickstarter, and we hope to be announcing very soon that we're at 100%.
You will be. I speak it into existence. You will be at 100% pretty soon. Yeah. You heard the man. Go back to Kickstarter and get yourself caught up. And if you're already caught up, just get the new book, because it's going to be amazing. I know it already. So thank you so much, Gene, for coming on to the show.
I love coming over.
I always love it when you're like, hey, I got a new Kickstarter. I was like, say less. Let's do this. It's like, I'm ready. So, and if you're going to be like me and go through your collection and see what you're missing, like, do that too, because we need to make sure we're caught up and have the full story. So, but thank you, Gene, so much. And I'll see you soon.
All right.
Thank you again to Gene for joining me on this show to talk about his new Kickstarter, The Sunstroms Issue 4. And if you want to see more conversations with Gene, check out this video next.